Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, everybody, for another rapid fire news update, this time for the period July 19th to the 25th. It's Rod with Pow Group, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Going to get right into it. I hope you're having a great weekend. Another action-packed week full of news, so we'll jump right to it. Before we do, make sure to smash the like. If you're new, you can subscribe. Tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. You can follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is at Group Pow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. Getting a ton of followers over there recently, so really appreciate the support here on YouTube and on X. Just eclipsed 1,000 followers and closing in on 10,000 here on YouTube. So like I said, really appreciate the support. So we have earnings season kicking off this week. Tomorrow, I already mentioned it, we have Tilray. I already posted a Tilray prep video. If you haven't seen that, you can check it out. But the first one that's going to be on deck is going to be Cannabis Biotech. That's going to be for their fiscal Q3 2025. It's going to be coming out tomorrow morning, and the conference call is scheduled for 9 a.m. That's Mountain Time, so it'd be 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So we'll be watching this because of the conference call being in the morning. We'll get the result out tomorrow morning as well. So I'll have to do an update video on Cannabis Biotech. Very bullish on them. I own them. And then we have Tilray after market close, which I'll be doing a video to review them, and I'll also live stream the conference call. Study shows that CBD shown to ease Parkinson's treatment side effects without reducing benefits. As we continue to see more studies, more evidence that this is medicine of the future, and just love to see this kind of stuff, right? It's natural, it's beneficial, it's actually, it's actually got scientific backing. So it's just going to be more and more. There's going to be more and more breakthroughs as things progress, right? As we see the barriers come down, more research being done. Not only that, hit it with AI. I think you're going to see massive amount of breakthroughs and big data and using technology to really get this medicine of the future mainstream, and all these breakthroughs that we're going to kind of figure out as we go along. Also, why cannabis may be the key to treating dementia, PTSD, and chronic pain. So the interesting article here from Cannabis Tech today. My dog in the background is seems to be choking a little bit. Are you okay, buddy? You okay? Yeah, he seems okay. I was a little worried there for a second. But yeah, if you haven't seen this article, highly encourage you to check it out. But again, we're just going to continue to see more and more breakthroughs as time passes. Also, Cresco Labs announces a strategic restructuring and plans to divest California operations. So this is never a good look. When you see companies getting out of certain markets, some people view that as, they're worried about profitability, and California is difficult, high taxation, etc. Well, I get it. You're struggling to be profitable, your margins aren't as good, but the fact that you have to remove yourself from from your own, like a state in your own country where you operate, not a good look. Can you imagine if a Canadian company were pulling out of a certain Canadian province? It wouldn't look very good at all. So you never want to see that. You want to see them expanding and succeeding while they expand. You don't want to see them retract. In my opinion, that's not a great look at all. And California's taxes aren't even that bad. If you look at some of the taxation we have here in Canada, it's actually pretty crazy. A third of these companies' revenue top line is going to excise tax, and that's not factoring in payroll taxes, income taxes, property taxes, you name it, right? So not a great look. I'm becoming more bearish on Cresco Labs actually by the day. I do own a very, very small position, but it will remain very, very small for good reasons until I see some significant changes. Also, Alberta now permits cannabis sales at events where minors are present. Weed sales have been steadily increasing in the province every year while alcohol consumption continues to dwindle. And I've been saying and telling this story for a while now that we had Plant Life at the Great Outdoor Comedy Festival last year, and that was the one with Kevin Hart, I believe, and you were able to buy cannabis directly at the event. So you're going to see this more and more. There's going to be, you'll be able to buy cannabis-infused beverages at the Oilers game. You'll be able to buy it at the Elks game, football games, basketball games, you name it, NBA, NHL, NFL. They're all going to be, you're seeing the growth of the beverage sector, right? And while all these other CEOs and companies years ago said, it'll never be more than 1 to 2% of the category, or that category will never be more than 1 or 2% of the entire sales of the industry. I think that is going to be dead wrong, folks. You're going to see beverages be the form factor of choice, right? It's just socially acceptable, and you're not going to be able to go into like a closed area like an Oilers game and an NHL game and light up a joint, right? Even edibles are kind of weird because yeah, it just, you can't buy like, you know, alcohol infused edibles it's just not already, you know, ingrained into society, whereas you can buy beverages, like adult beverages, everywhere. So it's, in my opinion, it's going to be the preferred form. And the thing with edibles is, you know, you get like 2 or 3 in a pack and you're done with them, right? And you can easily overdose and have a bad time. So with beverages, you know, it takes people a long time, and you know, you got to sit there and sip on it. You know, some people are going to obviously chug it and be complete degens about it, but you know, to each their own. But you know, you got to sit there and sip on it, and it's usually fast acting, about 10 to 15 minutes. It's getting better and more quicker all the time. So in my opinion, it's just the best overall and my preferred method of consumption, to be completely honest with you. Also, Germany officials approved 293 cannabis clubs. I love that I can say this word now and not get flagged by YouTube. Another huge clue that major reforms on the way in the U.S. A year after Germany legalized marijuana for personal use and cultivation, nearly 300 cannabis clubs have received government approval to operate under the country's new regulatory system. So again, while you see a lot of these U.S. companies, MSOs, contracting, you've got companies that are expanding. Like look at Tilray, for example. It's all across Canada. It's expanding into the U.S. with its hemp drinks. It was the first to get approved in Italy, and they have a huge market share in, well, they're in over 22 countries. And yeah, Germany's going to be a big place for them as well, right? The UK, all over the place. Also, U.S. Senate advances nomination of Terrence Cole as the DEA admin. So the U.S. Senate has approved a cloture motion vote to advance the nomination of Terrence Cole as administrator of the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, clearing a major procedural hurdle over 5 months after Cole's initial nomination. It was a nail-biter. I think, what was it, 44 to 43, yeah, so one vote. But overall, got it across the finish line, and he said he wants to make rescheduling a priority. I think they will get it done. But the DEA judge, and that's none other than John Mulrooney, I believe that was his name, right? Yeah, John Mulrooney, has retired. And he was overseeing the MJ rescheduling process. And now it's going to be in the fate of the new agency head, which is Terrence Cole. So again, I think all signs are pointing to rescheduling being imminent. I think there's a good chance it happens by the end of the year. And again, with seasonality, typically cannabis stocks do well into the end of the year as well. And we could see Pennsylvania come on very, very soon as the 25th state recreationally. And then we could have a Florida vote at some point soon for another state to go legal potentially at the recreational level. So we'll see what happens here. But I don't think there's going to be any issues getting this across the finish line. I think, you know, they're going to focus on other, you know, actual Schedule 1 threats, like, you know, fentanyl and heroin, all that garbage. So I think that's what they'll do. And we know that they're trying to cut back on money as well. So it's just, it's medicine. This farce has to end. And I think it will. And then, like I said, we're probably going to see safer banking at some point toward the end of the year, if not early 2026 before the midterms. Also, Khalifa Kush launches in Ohio through an exclusive partnership with Wonder Grove at Bloom Dispensaries. I've never tried Khalifa Kush before. I'd love to add it to my bucket list and try it out. But yeah, we'll get there. Also, Czech Republic to decriminalize cannabis from 2026 onward, but medical exports are already booming. So again, game theory playing out. Once one goes, they all go, and it's just a lot of the world is watching the U.S. as well. Once the U.S. starts to see reform, I think that's going to be the green light for a lot of these other countries, because they're going to say, "Hey, we need to get in front of this. We definitely don't want to be first, but we definitely don't want to be last, and we definitely don't want to be after the U.S." Right? You want to be figuring it out as it goes, because they have the biggest economy in the world, the biggest capital markets of the world, and usually they're the measuring stick on the rest of the world kind of following suit. So Trulieve announced that they're expanding their distribution of Onward and launch of the THC infused energy drink Upward. So let me know if you've had any of these. So peach nectarine, they sound pretty good. If anybody has had any of the new premium Upward beverages, please let me know. So we've already been seeing this with a lot of different energy drinks. Like there's a ton of them here in Canada, and they have guarana in it and whatnot. But yeah, let me know if anybody has tried the Onwards, and if you end up trying the Upwards, please let me know. But it looks like it's a boost from green tea, coffee beans, and black tea leaves. Interesting. So you'll be able to get those available at ABC Fine Wine, Spirits, and Total Wine, and more locations in Florida. So if anybody has tried these, please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. And I'll have to, whenever next time I am traveling across the U.S., I'm going to have tons of products to review, so it's an exciting time. Also, Congressman Brian Mast joins bipartisan push to end federal marijuana prohibition in legal states. So love to see that. I think that's ultimately where we're heading, right? We're going to see rescheduling more than likely. That'll make it incremental. It'll just be easier, right? When it's no longer treated as a Schedule 1 on the same list as heroin and fentanyl, right? Even fentanyl, certain forms of it on Schedule 2. But yeah, I think we'll get there. Ultimately, descheduling it is where we need to go. Also, Aurora is set to host their first quarter 2026 investor conference call and earnings. So that's going to be, the conference call is at 8 a.m. Eastern time. So it'll come out that morning on August 6th as earnings season continues. Leaf Brands announces Canadian $1 million private placement. The net proceeds from the offering are anticipated to be used for general working capital purposes. Ugh, that's not a great sign. General working capital purposes is kind of like French for saying we need to keep the lights on. So if it said like for growth initiatives or mergers and acquisitions or something like that, yeah, just be a little bit careful with this one. I know a lot of people in the Pow Group private community are interested in that. Also, Canada's legal marijuana sales hit a record 485 million in May, pushing 2025 total past $2.2 billion. This is wild. It's crazy to think that this is generating this much, and we're continuing to eat into the illicit market. Just imagine if we see excise tax reform and going to one national stamp, etc. I wouldn't want to be in the illicit market if I were somebody in Canada, because you're going to absolutely have your lunch handed to you here over the next couple of years, in my opinion. Also, Turkey set to approve they approved the law allowing pharmacies to sell low-level THC hemp products to patients. Turkey's parliament has passed a new law that will allow licensed pharmacies to sell low THC hemp-derived products to patients with qualifying medical conditions, including cancer, epilepsy, PTSD, and chronic pain. As we continue to see medicine in the future really just proliferate every single part of the world. Also, over 30 attorney generals urged Congress to pass Safer Banking Act to establish nationwide MJ banking. So a coalition of more than 30 AGs is urging Congress to pass the Safer Banking Act, legislation that would provide legal protections for banks serving state licensed marijuana businesses. And I've been to the US. It's just insane that you can't pay for this with a credit card. Even it was deemed like essential during the C-19 everything that was going on. It was deemed essential. So just insane to me that it's deemed essential, but you can't buy with a credit card. It's time to get the uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ done as well. It's insane that it's gone on this long. President Trump endorses Joe Gruters for RNC chair, and Gruters backs medical marijuana and open to recreational legalization. So President Donald Trump has thrown in his support behind Florida State Senator Joe Gruters to lead the Republican National Committee, a move that would mark a historic shift for the party on marijuana policy. So again, the writing is on the wall, folks. What more do we need to be confident that we're going to see some sort of reform here in the not too distant future? Like I said, I think it starts with rescheduling, safer banking, then we get uplisting NYSE and NASDAQ, and then we get full-blown descheduling once the big banks and institutions are positioned. Also, another study shows that California marijuana legalization linked to decline in heavy alcohol use among middle-aged adults. So again, it's no wonder that alcohol companies are wanting to put their tentacles and filthy paws all over this industry. It's because they're being disrupted. Also, Kronos Group Inc. to hold 2025 second quarter earnings conference call on August 7th, and that will be at 8 a.m. Eastern time. So they'll discuss the company's financial results. So that'll be early that morning as well. So mark that on your calendar. Speaking of calendar, Canopy Growth set to report their first quarter fiscal 2026 financial results on August 8th. Again, some companies have different fiscal year ends. That's why you're seeing 2026 Q1. So that's going to be before financial markets open on August 8th. And we're going to have a lot of the 420 sales as well on a lot of these earnings this quarter. And the conference call will be at 10 a.m. Eastern time on August 8th as well. Delaware, less than a week until recreational cannabis sales begin. So love to see it. Delaware's adult use marijuana market will launch on August 1st, marking a historic step as the state joins over 20 others with licensed recreational cannabis stores in operation. So we'll see if Pennsylvania could be the next one on the list. All right. Let me know what you think of this news in the comment section. We'll continue the conversation there. It's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you on the next one.